Well, we're obviously very pleased with the acquisition of Nolan Arenado. When we realized that Nolan was potentially available, we made every effort to secure him for the Cardinals for the upcoming season and for a long time beyond that. Unfortunately, Nolan was interested in being a Cardinal, which was important because he was on a no trade and he had an opt out after the first year. I give John Mozeliak and his team a lot of credit for working through a pretty complicated transaction, as you might imagine. And it took several days to get it done, but in the end, we got our man, which is very exciting. As you know, when we took over the club 25 years ago, our goal was to maintain and enhance the wonderful Cardinal franchise. Through that period of time, over the years, way back in the Branch Recce era, it was built on scouting, player development, and bringing players to the big leagues. And it still is that way. But when you have an opportunity to get premium players from other clubs for whatever reason, it's incumbent upon us to bring them to St. Louis. And many of them, of course, have contributed to our championships. To name a few, Matt Holliday, Scott Rowland, Mark McGuire, Adam Wainwright, Jim Edmonds, Chris Carpenter. I'm sure I've missed a couple of top players there, but that's a pretty good crew right there. And Nolan certainly fits right into that group, and as a premium player, has been an outstanding third baseman and hitter, winning multiple Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers, and always been in the discussion of MVP. Nolan is joining us in the prime of his career, so we anticipate many great seasons of Nolan playing third base. I've always been a believer that great players make everyone else on the team better. The example they show, the effort they put in, and Nolan is known for his commitment to baseball. It's what he thinks about, it's what drives him, it's what's made him a great player. And he will set an example which will not only help our current players, but young players who see what he has to offer. The Cardinals are fortunate to have fans who support us year in and year out, and we have an obligation to bring them the best team possible and the best players possible, and they make it possible. So I want to thank the fans, as I always do when we make a big financial commitment, because without their support, we wouldn't be able to do it. So I would call this a red letter day for the Redbirds. It's certainly an exciting time. I've gotten multiple texts and calls and from all generations of how in the world were the Cardinals able to get Nolan Arenado. And, you know, we're fortunate that we were able to make it happen. So, Brian, at this point, I would kick it back to you for the next speaker.
Okay, Bill, thank you for those comments. And now we will turn over to John Mozeliak, Cardinals President of Baseball Operations.
Unmute myself. First off, this is a very exciting day. I can only echo what Bill said. But I think I need to first start off with just thanking everyone, starting with you, Mr. DeWitt, Mike Gersh, Randy Flores, Moises Rodriguez. I mean, these guys spent tireless hours trying to get this done. I also want to show some gratitude towards Major League Baseball to helping us push this over the finish line, and as well as thank the Colorado Rockies for their patience during this process. But at this time, I really want to just welcome Nolan and his wife, Laura, to the city of St. Louis. This is an amazing day for them, for the Cardinals, and I can't tell you how excited all of us are for seeing this type of talent, this type of player, this type of personality joining our club. And needless to say, the feedback I've gotten from players and other people in the game, it just really echoes what type of player he is and how he'll fit in with this organization and this club. So it really makes it feel even that much better. But, I asked myself this question recently on how does a deal like this happen? And I feel that you need a lot of patience, you need a level of persistency, and you need opportunity and to be opportunistic. And you also need an owner that's willing to take a chance. This was not an easy deal to put together. There was multiple levels of complications, multiple levels of hurdles that were hit, but we continued to do it. And the feeling we have of making this happen is some level of relief, some level of exhaustion, but we think it's worth it. And, ultimately seeing baseball come back in a couple weeks, I think we're all looking forward to that. We're all hopeful that we can have a normal season. And when I reflect on the moment of today, we realize it is a special day. But we hope it's really just the first step in many years of success, having Nolan on our club. So at this point, I'll turn it back over to you, Brian, and thank you.
Thanks, Mo. Nolan, if you're ready, if you've got any opening comments, feel free. You're not obligated by any means. We can jump into questions right away. But
I got a few things. First of all, Mr. DeWitt and Mo, thank you for the hard work. I know this wasn't easy, and thanks to my agent, Joel. I heard it was a grind, and they probably know how it feels to play 162 right there, just trying to negotiate this contract. So, but it's I'm very thankful to be a Cardinal, a great organization with great history, and me and my family are really excited to be a part of it. So I just want to thank you guys.
Thanks, Nolan, and welcome. At this point, we will start with the questions. Again, I ask that you please use the raise your hand reaction button, and we will call you. Keep your microphone muted when you're not speaking to avoid any background noise. And we'll start with questions first with Derek Gould of St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And if you could please also note who you're directing your question towards. Thank you.
I'd like to direct this question towards Nolan. Derek, cover the Cardinals for the Post-Dispatch. I wondered what you kind of described it there with the grind. What was this last 8-9 days like for you, as you kind of knew what you were on the cusp of, but also all the things that had to be cleared? Were you anxious, pensive? Was there an excitement as you're there working out?
Yeah, probably Mo and those guys would probably speak on it a little bit more than I could, but it was tough. I knew it was, you're hearing that I was getting close, and you never knew. I didn't want to jump the gun and get too excited. But once I heard that it was done, I was, thrilled. I'm very excited to join this team. It's a bittersweet moment, right? I'm gonna miss some of the boys on the Rockies. I got to know them, got to know some of those coaches for a long time. I've known a lot of them since I was like 18 years old. And I'm 29 now. So, I have some relationships that I'll cherish for the rest of my life over there. But coming to a team like St. Louis with great players and great history, it was, I'm just super excited. I've always admired this organization from afar. I told Mo the story when I was a rookie. We went to St. Louis, and I remember Tulo was just the first thing he told me when we got there. Is like, just watch the way these guys play the game, and you're gonna learn something. And he was quite right about that, because this team was extremely talented, and they did the little things to win ball games, and that's something that I've always admired about this organization.
Benjamin Hockman, I know you know Nolan from your Denver days.
Hey, Nolan. Welcome to St. Louis. Just want to ask you about the idea of winning a World Series championship. You've won basically everything, most everything else in baseball. Can you put into words your hunger, desire to win it all?
Yeah, well, that's the dream, right? As a kid, you dream of winning a World Series, and that is still the dream now. And to join this organization that they care about winning and they want to get things done, it's really exciting. They're always competitive, and that's something that got my attention. And of course, the goal is always that. The goal is get the playoffs, but we have to set goals first. Let's get to spring training, get our timing down. We'll move into the season, hopefully, God willing, healthy. Move into the season, play as many games we can, hopefully, God willing, win the division, and then keep making our way up. We got to set the goals like that, and I think that's what we'll do. I'm excited to join this staff because this team has more playoff experience than I've ever had. I'm just a piece to the puzzle here, and I'm excited to be a part of this group. I know they're going to help me and guide me along, just like I can help them in this game also. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Randy Carricker, ESPN 101, St. Louis.
Hey, Nolan, a couple of things. Number one, can you give us the proper pronunciation of your last name? And secondly, we've heard over the last couple of days about your legendary work ethic. Where did that come from, and how does it manifest itself for you?
Last name's Arenado. You can call it whatever you want. It's all good. But Arenado is how you say it. I think just growing up around Todd Helton, Troy Tulowitzki, guys that work so hard. And, when I was a young player, I see the success that they're having, and I wasn't having as much success as them. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to pick it up a little bit. These guys are working so much harder than I am, and they're having such success. Maybe I need to start doing that. So that's just kind of how it all started, and just wanting to stay in the big leagues. That was, your goal is to get there, but you want to stay after, and then you set different goals as you goes on. You want to make an all-star team and win a Gold Glove, do those things. You just want to set these goals and continue to accomplish them. And that's just kind of how it all started.
Ron Blum, Associated Press.
Hey, Nolan, and for you and for Bill, with all the excitement for the trade in this season, does part of you worry that given the relationship between the parties that a work stoppage could be likely for spring training next year?
I'll let probably Bill go first on that one.
Ron, hopefully no. And it's incumbent upon both parties to try to reach a mutually beneficial agreement. And I know both parties will make every effort to do that. So, that's the last thing I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking about spring training this year and hopefully having a great season. So, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds and the issues and all the things that are important to both sides. But historically, MLB and the Players Association have avoided work stoppages for a long, long time, longer than any other professional sport. So let's hope that continues through next year.
Right, Nolan, your thoughts on?
Yeah, I hope we don't have a work stoppage. I hope we're able to play. I think both sides want to play, and that's what, especially with this 2020 season, how it got delayed and all the things that are going on in our country, it probably wouldn't be very good if we had a stoppage. So, I hope we are able to play and we're able to settle those disputes or whatever they are and get them done. And I believe we can. There's always agreement there, and I believe there can be.
Thank you.
Jeff Jones, Belleville News Democrat.
Hi, Nolan. Can you speak maybe to some of the connections you've had to players in the current team throughout your career? I know that you and Paul Goldschmidt, for example, have played together in a couple of spots. I know that maybe we're not technically on the current team here, but you and Yadier Molina, I think, as well have a relationship. Can you sort of speak to what those connections were like and how they can maybe inform what coming to St. Louis will be like for you?
Yeah, well, I've gone on vacation trips with the Carpenter family, so I got to know him a little bit, talking to Matt, and obviously got a lot of respect for Yadi. I've always enjoyed watching him play and how he changes the game with how good he is and talking to him. But there's a couple of guys there, Mark Reynolds played there, Descalso, I just asked those questions to those guys. I don't know a whole lot of them, but, I'm excited to get to know them. But Goldschmidt for sure is a friend of mine. I consider him a good friend, and obviously he's one of my favorite players of all time. And playing against him, like I said, I played against him in rookie ball and then playing against him in the big leagues. And then now we're on the same team. It's pretty cool. It's definitely talking to them and getting to know them will probably make this transition a lot easier. And, that'll make it a lot easier to get ready and hopefully get into it.
Zach Silver with Cardinals.com.
Hey, Nolan, welcome to St. Louis. just curious what you mentioned you came out here with Tulo and he told you just to observe and to learn from what the organization does. What do you know about the organization? What do you know about the city, and what are you just most excited to learn about St. Louis?
Well, obviously, you know how good they are. The winning tradition, the history behind them, and the great players that came through this organization. Obviously admire just the way they've won consistently. And they're so good. And the fans are amazing. I remember going there, playing every time. They have a lot of respect for good play, and they respect for the visiting team also. And I remember I made diving plays there, and they're like clapping for me like it was a home game in Colorado, and it was in St. Louis. And I remember Charlie Blackmon had an at bat in St. Louis, his first at bat, and the announcer thought it was his debut. And it wasn't. It was like his second year in the league, and the Cardinal fans gave him like a standing ovation. It was pretty funny. So we're all like, "What is going on here? What did he do?" But it just shows you the respect they have, and it was pretty cool to see that, and it just shows you that they just respect the game and respect people that make their way to the big leagues. So it's pretty cool to be a part of that.
David Wallstein, New York Times.
Hi, Nolan. I'm just wondering if you're surprised at how quickly things change with the Rockies, after signing your extension there and probably planning to spend the rest of your career there. And then do you feel bad for, you mentioned Charlie and Trevor and the guys that are left behind?
Like when I signed in Colorado, I signed it with the intent to be there for the rest of my career. That was the intent. But, it wasn't meant to be. The last few years have been tough. And, I know a lot of people are probably bothered by this, but, I'm not the first contract to get moved after a couple of years. It's it happens a lot in this game. It happened to Stanton. It's happening to me. Lindor's another guy who, I know he has a long-term deal, but, I thought we all kind of figured he was going to be an Indian for a long time also. But it's just part of the game. It happens. And, I feel bad. I don't feel bad because I'm excited. I'm excited to move on. And but I miss those guys. They're my great friends. I consider them brothers, and they got a special place in my heart. We were able to do some great things, and I've known Charlie since I was 17, 18 years old, also. And I got to know Trevor, and I got to meet a lot of great people there. But the intention was to sign there and be there, but things change, and I couldn't be happier for it to change and be in this situation now.
Ben Frederickson, St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Nolan, welcome to St. Louis. I'm curious how your shoulder's feeling and kind of what the offseason looked like for you with that. And if you're willing to share, how much do you think that affected you last season offensively, that injury?
Well, yeah, the first few months of the first month of the offseason, it was kind of tough. Couldn't do a whole lot. Didn't lift, couldn't really lift, and couldn't hit, do anything really a whole lot. So I had to take it easy, but I got treatment, I got the right trainers and the right people helping me, and I feel really good again. I'm not worried about it. I don't think, I don't know, unless something crazy happens, but I don't expect this to be a problem in the future. But and yeah, it was tough last year. I don't want to make the excuse that it was only because of that, but it wasn't easy playing injured. Didn't feel good being hurt. I feel like I'm in a better place now. My swing is better. I feel like I can finish high again. And, I expect to be back to normal and be back to who I am. So, last year was a tough year, but I know I'm better than that. So I expect to be.
Brian Walton.
Owen, what are your thoughts about playing your home games in the ballparks of the Central Division versus the West, where you've been your entire career to date?
Well, it's going to be different, and it's going to be an adjustment. Obviously, playing, I played in those stadiums a lot throughout my career, so I kind of already know them. But to be there more consistently will be different. But I'm excited. I Busch Stadium's I know it's a big field, but I love it and the fan base, and I know it's a great place to play. And I'm really excited to play there. And then obviously the rivalry with the Cubs will be great. Going to Wrigley, I've always enjoyed that stadium. It's such a great place with great fans. Cincy, we got a good team, and Pittsburgh. It's all great ballparks. Parks that I've always enjoyed going to, and I feel like it's gonna be fun. I heard the travel is really easy, which is great. So that's gonna be nice. So I'm excited. I'm excited to play in this division. It's something new, and that gets me really excited to go.
Troy Rank, looks like you're a moving car. Hope you're not driving.
No, I'm not driving. I promise, Brian. Thanks for Nolan. Good to see you. Congratulations on the move.
Thanks, Troy.
You signed the deal and you were the face of the franchise. And Dick Mumford said earlier today that 9 months ago you asked to be traded, and they basically that nothing was changing that. Was it just the issue of you just felt like you could no longer win there, and that this was going to be the only solution? I mean, that's just what Rocky fans want to know, and it's about 99% leaning in support of you. But is there something that happened where you realized this was going to be inevitable, Nolan?
I think, yeah, I mean, when you have a big, like I said earlier, when you have a contract like mine and you're losing, usually, I think a lot of these contracts get moved, and that's just kind of what happened now. Like I said, I signed there to be there for a long time, and I wanted to win there. It didn't work out. So, you move on, and that's what I'm going to do, and I'm really excited to be here.
When you look at it and you saw what happened with Holiday and these other guys, do you see this as a chance to kind of, where you're playing meaningful games? They've had 13 straight winning seasons. How enticing is that when you wake up, for every day and feel like you're a contender?
Well, exactly. I think that's exactly it. I made this decision based on hopefully go to a competitive team, a team that, has great tradition. And I believe St. Louis has that. Obviously, you said they have 13 straight winning seasons. Hopefully we can, throughout my career, we can make it even more. So that's the goal. And like I said, I'm really excited to join this team. I feel like this is a really good team to do special things. And, I can't wait to get to Jupiter.
Last thing, what would you tell Rockies fans today? I mean, it's almost like they're in mourning. I guess, what would your message be to them as this thing's now official?
Well, I got a lot of love for the Rocky fans. They've always supported me throughout my career. And, I truly care about them. They got a special place in my heart and in my family's heart. This move, we're really excited, but our families, it's crazy because Colorado is like our second home. So we loved it. We love those fans. We appreciate the support. And, the only thing I would tell them is that I did my best and I gave them my all. And that's all I could really do.
Thank you, my man.
All right, Derek Gould, St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Nolan, a few times during this, you've described obviously visiting St. Louis as a rookie and then also knowing some of the players. Well, you had a lot of power with your no trade clause to determine where you would go. How much did you look into the future of the Cardinals and what it might look like if you were to spend, say, the second half of your career here and the team that they would put around you?
Well, I saw who was on that team now, and, obviously Goldschmidt's going to be there for the next 4 or 5 years, and I kind of saw the end of my contract and I saw the rest of the players. It's all kind of similar at the same time. As development goes, that's something I'm not worried about with St. Louis. They always bring up guys that are ready to go, and they're always good about producing players that are ready to go and contribute. And so, that's something, and I'm not too worried about. And, they have a good pitching staff, good defense, and hopefully we get the best catcher back and we'll keep it moving. But, they have a great team. I really believe that. Like I said, they've had 13 straight winning seasons. So that's enticing enough to me. And I know they care about winning, and I believe they'll do everything we can to win.
As part of this, you were able to get the second opt-out that we all know about. What are some of the factors that you'll consider as you look to whether you stick around? Because you'll have that choice twice to make whether you want to go somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I plan on sticking around. So, that's my goal. I plan on staying here for a long time. I've said that once in Colorado, but I truly, I mean it. I expect to be here for a long time. I'm not worried about that.
Thanks, Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Carricker, ESPN 101, St. Louis.
Hey, Mo, you've been talked about with the Rockies and Nolan for a long time. When's the first time you ever called Colorado and expressed interest in Nolan Arenado? And when did you finally reach the point? And I guess the question is, what was the biggest hurdle? Bill talked about how complicated this was. What was the biggest complicated hurdle that you had to jump to get this deal done?
Yeah, to start off with chronological order, we did have some interest in Nolan this past off season, and then I think it really sort of started gaining a little bit of momentum in the month of December of 2020. And then as we sort of worked our way to where we are today, it just seemed like every time we thought we might get somewhere, something happened. And so like, there was not one particular hurdle that stands out as like, oh no, but there were, I mean, I can tell you like, everybody that was involved in this deal will tell you like, every time we thought we were close, something else happened. And then you asked the question to Nolan, like how he felt over the last like 10 days. I can tell you like the last week or so, I keep feeling nauseous. Like it just felt like something was going to go wrong. And, you know, it just took a lot of patience on everyone's side to get it to where we are. And again, just grateful for everybody's participation to get to the finish line.
Benjamin Hockman, St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For Mo and Bill DeWitt. On the topic of potentially playing in the World Series and winning the World Series, can you put into your own words why you think this St. Louis Cardinals team now can contend for that, and maybe the difference between the idea of getting into the playoffs and making a run in the playoffs?
I'll defer to Bill first.
Okay. Well, as I said before, having a player like Nolan playing third base and setting an example for particularly some of the young, talented players we have and veterans as well, it's just going to uplift, I think, our team overall. And we have some young guys who are coming into their own, and we have veterans who you know pretty much what to expect. So I think this is in a way a perfect storm from a position player standpoint. Defense, you know, is a hallmark of Cardinal teams, and certainly is of this one with Nolan at third, and has been. We have a good pitching staff, as Nolan referenced. Deep, we've got good young pitching coming, and we've got good young players coming. So I feel like we're deep at this point in time with what we have in the organization. And this is, you know, what we accomplished last year, given the challenges and how we had players, you know, throwing into pillows while they were up in the hotel in Milwaukee to maintain and stay in shape. You know, it was pretty remarkable. And we actually were in position to win that first round. It just didn't work out. So I'm very optimistic. I think we've got a good club, one that could contend with anybody.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think simply put, we might not be done. I mean, we're still looking at things that might transpire between now and the time we get down to Jupiter. There's always opportunities, and we're going to continue to keep looking. But with the addition of Nolan, we think, you know, we went from a good to great team. And but the supporting cast, or really his teammates, you know, we have a lot of belief and faith that they're going to be good. And so when you look at all the things we possibly could have done this offseason, you know, clearly our target was Nolan, and we were able to get it. And, you know, we hope it is the difference maker.
Polo Asensio, Cardinal Spanish Radio.
Mute.
Are you unmuted, Polo? All right, let's.
There you go.
Right.
You can tell I'm a radio guy. I'm not used to Zoom. But hey, Nolan, first of all, bienvenido a San Luis. You're going to love it here. I've been here for 4 years, so I can tell you it's great. Now, you have Puerto Rican and Cuban in you. This is a very important question. Tu español. ¿Qué tal está tu español?
No, I do not speak any Spanish, and you could blame my parents for that one.
Okay, hey. I will blame him for that. But now I'm gonna blame you for this. Over the last couple of days, I have text or talked to a couple of our guys, a couple of our players, and I can tell you every single one of them are very excited for you to come here. You've been called Caballo. You know what Caballo bio means, right? You're a horse. You call the missing piece, the guy that we needed. This guy is going to take us to the next level. When you hear that your new teammates feel like that towards you, is that a little extra pressure for you, or you welcome that kind of pressure because that's why you wanted to be here, right? To be in a team that is going to give you a chance to take yourself and help them get to the next level. Can you please answer that or talk a little bit about that? And thank you again.
Yeah, well, I think, well, that means a lot that they want me here and they appreciate me. But they appreciate me for who I am. So that's just who I need to be out there. Is I just need to be me, and that's what I'm going to do. And it's not extra pressure. I think the goal is to win. We all have the same goal. And as much as they're happy to have me, I'm just as happy to be with them. I mean, they're going to help me. They're going to guide me. I mean, like I said, they've been in the playoffs more than I have, and they've been around a lot longer than I have, and they've done some big things in this game. So I'm excited to be a part of them. So it's going to be great. I'm going to go out there and be myself, help this team win as many games as I can, and hopefully we get there and get to where we want to be at the finish line. But I'm very thankful to join a great organization. Like I said, an organization with great history and great tradition. And this is a very exciting time.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Cal Newman, Denver Post.
Hey, Nolan, nice to see you. Hey, so I know obviously you said you cherished a lot of your memories in Colorado, but over the last year and a half, as the losing was going on, how much your desire to leave was based on that relationship or lack thereof with Jeff Bridich, and then also around the team's plan or lack of plan to contend in the near future?
Well, my relationship with the Rockies is just fine. I think, listen, I'm not going to speak here and talk about the bad things. There's no bad things. It was great. I had a great time in Colorado. I loved it there. Like I said, I did the best I could there. I have no regrets. It just didn't work out. The last few years has been tough, and contracts, like I said, they get moved. That's just part of it. It's just part of the game, unfortunately. But it is what it is, and I couldn't be happier to join this team. But yeah, the last few years were tough in Colorado, but I'm not really part of the team anymore, and I don't have a whole lot to say about where they're headed or where they're not. I just know that I'm joining a great team, and I did the best I could there, and just keep it moving.
And over this last season there, obviously you're dealing with the shoulder injury and the team was scuffling a little bit. Did you expect to get traded maybe by the deadline? Was that weighing you down kind of mentally throughout the year?
No, I didn't expect to get traded during the season last year. It was only 60 games. I think the goal was to just try to sneak in and get into the playoffs somehow, and unfortunately we didn't get there.
Thanks, all.
Okay, Ben Frederickson, St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
This one is for Mr. DeWitt. Bill, you took some criticism and not too long ago for comments you made about kind of the state of baseball, and there was obviously a lot of talk about uncertainty about this offseason and next. You used the word incumbent on the team to make a trade like this when one become available. I guess, what do you think it says to folks who maybe questioned your desire to win at the highest level during these uncertain times to go out and trade for a player of Nolan's caliber right now?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, over the past 25 years, we've been pretty committed to winning, and we've taken chances in deals, and a lot of them have worked out, and some haven't worked out. And when we have had an opportunity to get premium players, we've made every effort to get them. And one thing we do know is premium players continue to be premium players. So. This was an opportunity we couldn't pass up, and one that we had thought about a while. I know Mo was asked earlier how long he's thought about Nolan Arenado, and I have to say that, we always sort of dreamed that something like this could happen or might have happened. But, when he signed the long-term deal, obviously we didn't think anything would come of that. But we're always opportunistic in seeing players who can take our club to the next level. And I think we've demonstrated that over the years, but it's hard to do. Everyone's out there trying to win. And, unless you control enough premium players, it's very difficult to do it from the outside by making trades or signing free agents. And, we've been fortunate that the players we have secured over the years have done the job and really helped the core that we've built. So, you know, we never stopped trying, and we never will as long as I'm around, and I know Mo feels the same way.
Yeah, we'll take one or two more. We're going over 30 minutes here. Rob Raines, St. Louis.
Hey, Nolan, Rob Raines, STLSportsPage.com. Did you know how long the Cardinals were interested in you? Had anybody like back and forth with games when you played against Goldie and some of those guys, and even back farther than that? Did they say, hey, we'd love to have you over here? I mean, when did all this kind of really start generating in your mind that you could end up here one day?
No, you know, I think once I signed long term, I think, you know, a lot of those people kind of stopped bringing that stuff up. But, you know, I think, you know, I've like I said, you know, I think they've always would like to play with me, and I'm fortunate I can now. But I think, you know, this off season, to see that they're pretty interested, and you know, that really helped, and that made me, you know, think about it a lot more. And obviously, we made the great decision to come here. But yeah, you know, I think, you know, a lot of the guys, you know, there ain't a whole lot of saying that on the field. I think everyone's kind of just focused on playing and stuff like that. But you know, I think whenever you see great players, you'd be like, oh man, I wonder how playing with them would be. You know, that's how I see Goldschmidt. You know, that's how I see Yachty, Adam Wainwright. You know, you're like, oh wow, that'd be awesome. You know, it's not just them; it's guys across the league. You know, you just admire great players and be great to be in a locker room with them. So I'm excited to be in a locker room with the great players on the Cardinals.
Ron Blum, Associated Press.
From Mo, you scout a lot of players, and obviously we see what they do on the field. As the Cardinals looked and did background on Nolan, what was it in him as a person that attracted you to him and thought he'd be a good fit for the Cardinals?
Well, I think when we were doing our due diligence on him, I think his reputation preceded him in the sense of how much he loves the game of baseball. When we think about like culture and the type of person we're looking to bring into the organization, there's a couple themes that we always like to know the player's interested in. One is, does he like to be around the game of baseball? You can personally Google Nolan and find him playing wiffle ball on your own. And when big league players are playing wiffle ball, it just means they love the game, right? And so that's a telltale. And then when I talk to other players about Nolan and what impresses them about him, it always came back to how hard he worked, his desire to learn, high baseball IQ, and those types of things are just very attractive to a team. And then knowing that he actually wanted to be a part of the Cardinal organization, I think is another key point, because when you have a player that actually wants to be a part of something, it makes everything else that much better. And you know, I think what Nolan's going to find out when he actually gets here is he's joining a club where players actually want to be here, and they're all pulling in the same direction. And you know, that's a compliment from Bill DeWitt to Mike Schilt to all Cardinal employees, because that's how we think. And you know, ultimately, I think that's what really sold us on him fitting in here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, one last question. Brian Walton, Cardinals Nation.
Mo, I know you don't comment on rumors, but there were some pretty significant players involved going the other way to Colorado. What can you say about how the negotiations went and the decisions about which players the Cardinals would give up in return for Nolan?
Yeah, so always in trade negotiations, there's obviously a lot of give and take, and that's where the patience comes in, because you know, I think everybody's trying to understand market value and trying to determine what's fair. And so I thought we did an amazing job of keeping names out of this deal, really up until the very end. So really kudos to the Rockies and the Cardinals for that. But, you know, obviously we knew we were going to have to give up something to get Nolan. I mean, he's a talented player. I'm sure a lot of teams wish they were sitting where we are today, so we're fortunate. But I think I would add that, you know, we felt like there was a price that we were going to have to give up or to pay, and you know, we came to a point where we had a meeting of the minds. So from that standpoint, you we're going to miss Austin Gomber, and we feel some of the younger players that we gave up do have some upside. And so I think Colorado is taking a chance on some future opportunity, and I would imagine some of those names are going to play in Denver.